And we're back. This is Elliott Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thank you for joining us here on CCW TV, the Comic Culture Warrior video channel. Done with the reviews. Got no more reviews. I do have a rant right now. I have a couple rants, a couple things. I'm going to lead off by saying what happened for me this week, which was kind of neat. After recording we record these segments on Sunday, and by the time this particular segment airs, it'll actually be maybe at least a week after we actually record it. Right. That's kind of how the sequence goes. So, we're recording this the day after Free Comic Book Day. And on Free Comic Book Day, I had a really busy day. I worked a fundraiser for the animal shelter where I work in the morning, early morning. Went to the Comic Vault in Chicago to do an appearance. Did a bunch of Star Wars trivia, signed copies of Ash Saves Obama. They even asked me, when is my new book coming out, which everybody keeps asking me about. I wish I had an answer for that. I don't yet. And then I went home, watched Doctor Who, then went straight to bed, woke up a few hours later to be on the 3 a.m. WGN radio overnight show.
Did you do it over the phone?
No, I went to the studio. I drove into the studio to do it. I prefer that myself. I prefer being in studio. And was on for a good solid hour. And I know some folks out there listen to it. They listen to the live stream. I actually got a few text messages while I was sitting in the studio.
People are getting really sick of your fucking Yoda, by the way.
I didn't do Yoda this time. I didn't do Yoda.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I did not this time. But that was a really long day, and what I guess the point I'm trying to drive here.
Really, you have a point to this fucking thing?
So some of you guys are talking about, wow, Elliott, you're really getting out there. You're really getting out there, and you're doing stuff. That's kind of what you got to do in this. You got to do this sort of thing.
You mean self-promotion?
Yeah. I was talking to some other writers. I mean, I've had several. I've gotten some messages on my Facebook page. If you want to find me on Facebook, facebook.com/Elliott.Serrano. That's my page. Friend me, and then we can, talk on Facebook. I've gotten a lot of questions about what is it like being a pro in the industry. Like, how much do you get paid? How do you pitch an idea? Things like that. Those are questions that, I know you guys have. The most important question, though, is self-marketing, self-promoting, and getting your face out there, getting your name out there so that people recognize you and go, hey, oh, this is your book. I found it very pleasing at Free Comic Book Day to run into other creators who said, hey, yeah, we saw that. We saw Ash Saves Obama. That was really cool. Oh, we see your stuff here and there. That's really cool. That's a slow process that you have to go through as a creator to promote yourself, and it's never ending. So for all of you out there who want to get into this sort of thing, understand you are starting a long, hard slog through some swampy land to get somewhere. We started these videos about 3 years ago? 2 years ago? No, 2008.
Yeah, 2 years
2008.
Ago.
2 years ago.
2 and change.
2 and change. And we started this for the purposes of, just talking about these things. But yeah, about self-promotion. Jose's promoting himself. I'm promoting myself. We have a lot of stuff going on, things that we'd like to do, things that we'd like to see happen in the industry. But it's been a slowly building process, And there's a lot that goes on that you guys don't know about behind the scenes. There are things that we might get called on from time to time that we talk about. I have comic professionals talk to me about the show and say, oh, wow, Elliott, you said this, you said that, you did this, you did that. That was pretty ballsy. I don't think so. But anyway, understand that being a comic book professional involves self-promotion like you wouldn't believe. and in most cases involves doing the exact opposite of what I'm going to do right now.
I'm going to try to get him fired right now.
So I work for it's no secret. The company I work for the most part that I write for is Dynamite, Dynamite Entertainment, and a lot of times you guys ask us, why don't you talk about, like, say, Lone Ranger, Green Hornet, The Boys?
So you stopped reading that. I actually stopped reading The Boys. The Green Hornet, I can do a mini run at Green Hornet. They're running that shit into the ground right now. I don't understand. Like, Dynamite just got the Green Hornet license, and already, like, all right, the Kevin Smith one is all right. I read the first 2 issues. Mm-hmm. The Matt Wagner one is really good.
Yeah, Matt Wagner's Green Hornet is really good.
All right,
yes.
But then you have, like, the Kato origin miniseries.
Right.
The Bruce Lee Kato, and then you have the female one that's going to come out later.
Right.
And then you have, like, the Green Hornet, like, one that takes place in the future. It's like, how many Green Hornet comics do we need? It's like, and it's all within, like, there's going to be, like, 6 books within a period of, like, 4 months that have all launched. That's a bit much.
Well, and I'm not...
Right now, it should be the Matt Wagner book, and it just should be the Kevin Smith book. That's it.
I see. Well, I mean, to me... Because
they're going to kill that license within a year.
Well, first...
I know you have nothing to do with it.
No, I don't have a dog. I don't have a dog in that fight, to be honest. And if they had asked... If they ever said to me, hey, do you want to try Green Hornet? I'd be like, I don't have a Green Hornet story to tell. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know all the guys who are working on the Green Hornet books. Me, personally, I mean, I'm kind of in line with you as far as, wow, that is a lot of Green Hornet books. At the same time, I can see why Dynamite is doing what they're doing, which is trying to gain a bigger piece of the market share.
That makes sense for that aspect. But if I was working on one of those books, and in 2 months' time from now, a customer goes into the store and sees, like, 6 different Green Hornet books, and they feel overwhelmed, kind of like when the same problem that people had when they got into comics and they go and they see all this Dark Reign stuff.
Right.
Like, where do they even start?
Right.
And unfortunately, the Matt Wagner book, which I think is the strongest book out of all of them, is going to get lost in that shuffle. That's the book that people should be reading. Right. And unless the retailer knows and reads that book and is like, yes, this is the best one, this is the one you should be reading, people aren't going to find that book.
Right.
They might just give up before they even start.
Right. You know, I don't know what to say. I mean, I know when it came to the stuff that I did, even with Army of Darkness, when I did Ash Saves Obama, and I remember I did that whole railing against $3.99 books. When my books come out, I want them to be, $2.99, and what happened?
$3.50.
They were $3.50.
Right.
And I realized, I was like, I was, eating a bit of my own, eating soul, shoe and open mouth insert foot. As a creator, it's like, really, you want to try to grasp what is going on on the publishing side so that you can have a fair perspective on it. But, I see exactly what you're saying. As far as the Green Hornet book goes, even not only the number of titles that they have, but the number of variant covers that were released.
It's ridiculous, man.
And all that.
The amount of variants that we have, like, 10 Green Hornet variants back here that aren't even, like, the normal variants. There's so much. It's ridiculous.
And the problem with that, and I guess saying it a problem, maybe is being facetious, the market shows that variants do sell. And until the market shows, until fanboys say, you know what, we're not going to buy every friggin' variant, we're not going to do that you're always going to get variant covers. Remember a few weeks back, Amazing Spider-Man, you talked about it on the blog. Mm-hmm. How Amazing Spider-Man got like 3 spots in the top 10 because they had all those
one of them, and this is a couple months ago, the first Rhino issue of Amazing Spider-Man, which is 2 months ago, had 5 variant covers, or 4 variant covers, and one of the variant covers, retailers could order as many as they wanted, so it wasn't really a variant cover, and that put it, like, in the top 8 comics.
Yeah. It was one book with all those variants that pushed the book into the top 10.
Yeah. And in July, Marvel is launching another X-Men book, X-Men #1, though the X-Men title itself is still going. It's just called X-Men Legacy. So, but that's going to continue to go, and they're just going to start a new X-Men #1 that's not X-Men Legacy, which is stupid. Anyway, but that book is gonna have 6 variants. They're gonna try to like catch lightning in a bottle again, like the Jim Lee X-Men 1, and the industry is not where it was back then.
No,
they'll be lucky if they break 150,000 copies on there. They'd be lucky if they did. Blackest Night numbers on that book.
Yeah.
But 6 fucking variants.
I mean, X-Men 1, I remember that. I even have a copy of that book. That was like the million seller. I mean, that was a million seller. That was huge. Yeah, but you're right.
And then X-Force came along, and that was like a 4 million seller.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, but that was back when they said, oh my God, you can actually sell 1 million copies of a comic book.
Yeah.
But the big gimmick in it was variant covers. And I hate to put this on the customer, but that's kind of the way it works. You know, as long as you buy it, people are going to try to sell it to you one way or another.
And to take a little aside just for a second here, I've had people on the blog ask me questions about, you know, there was a what Marvel comic was it? There's a Marvel S.H.I.E.L.D. #1. S.H.I.E.L.D. #1 came out, the Jonathan Hickman book. There was the regular cover, and then there was a variant cover.
Yes,
and then there was a black and white variant cover. And somebody wrote me a question on the blog saying, "Hey, I bought this. It was $7. I bought the black and white variant cover for $7
because it was all sold out.
Because the other one was all sold out. Because the other one was all sold out, but you know, I paid $4 more. I still enjoyed the book. Now what was the deal? Like, what's the deal with the variant? Well, the variant the black and white one that this person bought for $7 wasn't the actual variant. The actual variant that you can order one for every 15 copies order. The black and white variant that he bought was actually one of those variants that Marvel let retailers order as many as they wanted. So there should have been no reason why retailers but like we've talked about before with the ring promotion, there's some really fucking asshole retailers out there that will nickel and dime your ass, and they won't think twice about doing it just to get your money. Right. And this is one of those times, because Marvel is starting to put out variant covers that aren't really variant covers, because you can order as many as you want. So there's really...
They're variant covers, but not the way... from the retailer perspective,
right?
Because why?
Marvel puts variant edition on their second printings or on a comic that ships with 2 covers.
Right.
That's 50-50. There's always still one that says variant edition on it.
Right.
So I think by doing that, they're kind of, you know, lying to you a little bit, because it's not really that much more rare than anything else.
Exactly. They're trying to make it seem like it's rare.
Right.
Correct. And on top of that black and white cover. It didn't cost the retailer any more to get that particular one.
Well, no variant does. But you have to hit a certain plateau, and that's why you have to make your money back.
Yeah, exactly. The retailer didn't have to hit a plateau to get that
you can
cover.
You can just order straight up as many as you wanted. You could have ordered 200 of them and charge people $7, and you could have, for all intents and purposes, just had that comic sitting on your rack and not ordered any of the other ones, and still just sold $7 a piece, and just ripped people off.
Right, that's kind of
disappointing.
That's disappointing.
So I will try to keep up with that kind of stuff on the blog whenever I work here and I put up the comics. If I see something like that saying, "Hey, this isn't really a variant cover," because Marvel is starting to do that more, which is good, but at the same time, retailers are going to take advantage of that fact, and you guys might catch some shit for that just because you paid too much money for something that you shouldn't really at all.
Yeah, it's disappointing. Very disappointing.
But one more thing.
Yep.
You think I was going to forget. So, we were talking earlier about people who self-promote and how to get in the industry, you need to self-promote yourself to the hilt to get anywhere.
Right.
But, going back to Dynamite just hired somebody whose promotion... probably for the last 5 years have been nothing but negative. Somebody who should be blackballed from the industry. Somebody who's actually been living in Hong Kong for a few years to get away from the American industry. And that is Pat Lee. Pat Lee, Dynamite, and they made a huge to-do. Hey, look, we got Pat Lee. He's coming back. He's doing another. Pat Lee, creator of Dreamwave, who did the Transformers, who ran that company into the ground, who opened up a second corporation, moved all his assets to it, and when the Dreamwave folded, he saved all his money, but never paid any of his artists or any of the writers nothing. So he's able to bankrupt the company and not go into bankruptcy and not have to pay anybody. Really fucking shady. Pat Lee, the same guy who was doing a miniseries for Wildstorm, I believe it was a few years ago, who was the artist on the book who didn't draw it at all. He ended up drawing 2% of the book, paid somebody else to draw it, put his name on it, collected the check, paid the guy a minimum fee for drawing. So not only is this guy screwing people over for the business that he worked at, he is now promoting himself as something that he is not.
Yeah.
And so you don't know what you're getting. But now Dynamite is going through with this, and I'm sorry, but that is really shitty. Somebody like this who does this to the industry does not deserve to work in this industry. Does not deserve to get a paycheck from the comic book industry. Someone who's been known to fuck people over and over again, and Dynamite's like, Pat Lee did what he wanted to do. He went down. He put his head down, in his little shell, so everyone would forget about him for years. And it's like comes back like nothing ever happened. Like nothing ever happened. Seriously, Dynamite, shame on you. And that comes from the bottom of my heart. People like that just ruin this industry, and you're just going to give them the same opportunity to do it over and over and over again. Pat Lee has done nothing but fuck people over for 5 years, and he's still doing it by not paying the people the stuff that he owes. And speaking of Dynamite, again, Dynamite just bailed the Dabble Brothers out. Another company that has done nothing but fuck writers and artists in this industry. What is Dynamite doing? I know, but what do you guys feel about this? There are companies hiring and bailing out people who have no business being in the industry. They make this business worse off.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm going to try to play the advocate here, but I'm poorly equipped to do it because, quite frankly, I don't completely understand the reasons why. But grasping at a rationale, there are a lot of folks in the industry right now who we wonder why they're still doing stuff, and yet they still have a particular name. I am not justifying it. I'm not saying that because Pat Lee seems to be established within certain circles as someone who can get artwork produced, and I know the way he's done it has been morally, reprehensible. But somehow, some way, that name carries some weight.
But to me, I think that
carries some weight.
That weight recently has been is more of a negative connotation. That's the weight that it's bringing. Yeah. That's a lot of baggage, and it's not worth it.
Yeah. I can't speak for Nick Barucci or any of the editorial there on why they do it. Those are their things. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you there. I wish I could.
Well, I don't expect you to answer the question because I know you don't have the answers. But that's one of the things. It's just this stuff that Dynamite's been doing. They've been getting up in the charts as far. I think they're like the number 5 publisher now or something like that, which is good. That's good for them. But they've been doing some really bad things lately, and I don't want to see the company as a whole get screwed for these certain tactics that they're taking.
I know with the Dable Brothers especially, they bring a lot of stuff with them. They bring all these licenses and things with them that you can see, at least from the business standpoint, purely the mercenary business standpoint, why you would want to bring them in, because you get then the George R.R. Martin properties and all that other stuff. I mean, I was, at Devil's Due when they were dealing with the Dable Brothers. And even then, there were issues there.
There was issues with the Dabble Brothers with Devil's Due. There was issues with them with the Marvel.
Right.
And then when they went out and did their own thing with another company, and now it's just like, when do people learn?
I don't know. I mean, to me,
why do they keep giving these people money and giving them other chances just to screw you over again and again and again? There are just some people out there that are just bad business people.
Well, comics are filled with bad business
I
people.
agree with that, but Dabble Brothers has a track record. Pat Lee has a visible track record that is on the internet. Everyone knows all the stuff that went down because back when all this stuff happened, and it has been happening, the internet was established and everybody knew everything that was going on. So it's not like this was happening in the 90s where it was just industry insiders knew what was going on. Everybody knows about this.
Yeah. You know what the ultimate irony would be? Pat Lee was working on my book.
Oh, but then again, it wouldn't really be Pat Lee, because Pat Lee would be paying somebody to be working on your book, and then he would be putting his name on it.
His little Korean sweatshop or wherever the hell he sets up things. That would be funny. Wow. So you see, there are going to be times when he and I will have opinions that are, if anything, sometimes quite not only counterproductive but destructive. Well, Jose said he wanted to talk about it, and I told him he has every right to do so. So I'm never gonna try to censor him and tell him he can't talk about it. If that's his opinion, he's entitled to it. And I am not going to make an argument not being informed on it. So pure and simple. Who knows? That it?
That's it.
Couple things to keep in mind. First, that as always, the CCW TV blog is always running. While these videos might appear a little bit dated from time to time because of the way they're posted, the blog is as current as we can get it. We talk about the most recent things in the industry, as well as Jose, Iron Muskrat, Locus Mortis. A lot of folks in the CCW Nation are contributing content to it. Talking about the
more up-to-date reviews on there.
Great stuff there.
Reviews on there, yeah.
We have what I always love, the open threads that are becoming very, very popular, where if you hop in on a day when we have an open thread, lots of conversation going on then. And I'll drop in from time to time and make a random announcement here or there, like my appearance on the radio show. By the time this video runs, the big secret project that D-Mar and Little King Ryan have been working on for the past couple months will be running.
Oh, really?
So, if you haven't read Batman yet,
you will.
You will.
I don't think anyone's read it yet.
No one's
read
read it.
You.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's like Ron Burgundy. It's incredibly ridiculous.
I can't wait to review it.
I hope you're gonna love it. You're in it, and as always, we always look forward to the CCW Nation's contributions to the conversation. So, until next time, this has been Elliott Serrano and Jose Melendez coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.